generations. And now, the power of two restores the one.
We got a bidet. Hey everybody, and welcome back to another video. In today's video we are talking about the new Moana 2. Just came out in theaters and we went and saw it, so we're going to give you some non-spoiler thoughts. We're going to give it a rating and then we'll talk a little bit more about what happened in the movie with spoilers. I will say up front that if there's a movie where I'm going to butcher names, this is definitely one of them. Just because I can hardly even read the IMDb page. But we're going to do our best. So, what are my initial thoughts that for Moana 2 without spoilers? I thought it was a pretty fun ride. I thought it was cool. The animation is amazing. I think that's always a checkbox for Disney's new animated films. I thought the songs were pretty good. I thought the over I kind of feel like the overall story was kind of simple, but that doesn't mean it's not bad. Uh, it is a darker Disney film, in my opinion. Not visually, I mean like story wise. I had seen. I had seen some like things that I thought were memes about reviews for this movie where people were making fun of someone's review where they had said that they took their child to go see this movie and the child asked to leave early because of how many times they referenced the main characters potentially dying. And people were laughing at this review. And after seeing the movie, I can understand it. There's a lot of talk of death in this movie. There is some, without spoilers, there are some death things that we see or we're led to believe. And so there's a chance that this could be a hard one for the young ones to see. So uh, I do, I will give credit to Disney for entertaining the thought of some of this stuff happening because with these animated films, it's everybody has plot armor. Not one person can even get a paper cut. But, just expanding on that idea of realism and also a sense of danger in these films. Otherwise, that whole thing is taken out, and then, in my opinion, as an adult, a lot of interest goes away because if I can predict how everything's going to go, I don't want to see it, unless it's casually on in the background while I do stuff at home. So I think this movie was a good one. Like I said, it was a fun ride, good music. It had some pretty good comedy. One of my favorite parts was a purple nurple that happened in the film. That was pretty funny. But there was plenty of other things. I feel like when we were done watching the movie, everybody had a different thing that they thought was really funny about it in our group. So that was really cool. So, what'd you think, Sarah?
I really enjoyed it. I didn't know a whole lot about what the plot was going into this. I just knew it was another Moana and Maui adventure, and that it just looked like fun. And that's exactly what it was. It was a fun ride. She's got a new crew that they hang out with, and so there's some adventure stuff going on with them, and how different group members get along with each other, or maybe don't. Um, so it's nice that we're introducing some new characters, but at the same time, I think we do a good job of paying homage to the ones who made this franchise, right? So Moana and Maui. I feel like they're in it a good amount. The comedy was pretty good. I think the vibrancy of the colors, that's another thing that I thought was nice. The songs, I'm gonna give a medium grade on those. There were some of them that were awesome, but there were some of them that I think were either a little too long or they got so enthusiastic about making things authentic that you kind of lost what was being said. And what I mean by that is when you use I don't want to overstep any bounds here, but there's just sometimes some of the ways that they were singing and the words that they were saying, it was almost unintelligible. And I don't know if it's because, maybe it's just because it was really loud in the theater, or maybe they should have slowed down the song a little bit so you could actually understand what they were saying. Um, but like I said, that's not the case for the majority of them. I think it was just a couple songs here, there, and that's really kind of me being nitpicky. Um,
Here's a question for you. And I know my answer is, and I don't think you're going to be able to persuade me otherwise. Do you think there was a song in this movie that will be as iconic as You're Welcome? Or what was the other one that Moana sings that's huge in the first movie?
um,
They like very briefly reference it in the movie, kind of like a tongue-in-cheek thing.
For some reason, I just keep thinking of "I'll Find My Way," but that's from Hercules. It's not from this one.
No.
The ocean call and it calls me.
How far I'll go.
Yeah.
So those are
Um,
two big songs that came from the first one that I would arguably say would be playing in a Disney hotel on the regular. So is there one from here that you think, yeah, that probably is going to be very popular?
I think one of Dwayne Johnson or Maui's songs, I think could be that level. It wasn't necessarily my favorite song, but I could easily see it being extremely popular.
I'm looking up the Moana 2 soundtrack.
Are we saying songs, or are we leaving that for spoiler section?
I was just trying to see what is the most popular song that is played on Amazon Music. And right now it is Beyond, which is the end credit version. So that's pretty interesting, to be perfectly honest. The most popular song on Amazon Music for Moana 2 is a version of a song that is played during the credits when everybody's leaving.
I don't know about necessarily that version, but I would say that was my favorite song of the movie.
Gotcha.
Um, the one that I think is going to be the most popular, I guess it doesn't necessarily agree with what you just said from from your findings, but
Just
I
what
think
people are
I get a
listening
cheat.
to.
Huh?
It's just what people are listening to on Amazon. I mean, the movie just came out, so my guess is the soundtrack just came out as there's a chance that that one was out for a while because of promoting the movie. Sometimes Amazon will just release one song on an album, so you can kind of, get excited about it. So there's a chance some of that is playing out. I mean, there's some songs that still have some popularity tick marks, but that one is like full blown all the way. Like 10 out of 10 on the popularity scale.
Yeah. The one that I think is going to be popular is "Can I Get a Chi-Hoo?"
Hmm.
I think that one's going to really resonate with the kids. It was a fun song. For me, that was one of the ones that I think was a little too long, but it was kind of fun. It was a good pick me up.
Is this a movie you would watch again?
I would definitely watch this one again. Um, Even just from the aspect of there are things that you find out later in the film that make you want to rewatch to see if you pick up on little pieces along the way.
Gotcha. I would watch it again too. I just like the first one. I just think it's really enjoyable. Like it's entertaining to listen to. It's entertaining to look at. The comedy. There's everything there that would make a nice chill movie. So I enjoyed it. I do think kids will like it, but like I said, I some of those reviews that are talking the way that they are about the whole death aspect, I if your kid doesn't handle death well, I'd be careful, just because of what's going on. But okay, so ratings. I coming out of the theater, I was torn between a 7 and an 8, and I think my gut is most satisfied, giving this movie an 8 out of 10. Arguably, even though, because this is like the third movie I've seen within a week, I think this is the one I enjoyed the most. I know I rated Gladiator a little bit higher by 1 point, but what I would say about this movie in relation to Gladiator 2 and Wicked is that this one I thought was efficient with its time. The music was engaging, and the story moved. It didn't feel like we were wasting our time at all. So, yeah, I enjoyed it. Solid 8 out of 10.
Coming out of the theater, I was also thinking somewhere around a 7 or 8, but the more that I've sat on it and thought about it and thought about the songs and the plot and, just everything and the characters and all that, I think I'm actually going to settle at a 9. And the reason why for me that I'm going to settle there is just that there's really not much that I would change from a story or plot aspect. There might be some little nitpicky tweaks here or there, but it's nothing that I can really pinpoint. For me, it's more undeserving of a 10 because I didn't think the songs quite hit as hard as they should have. There were some that were really good, but for a 10 out of 10, I feel like it should be every song is a banger, or every song, most of the songs are. And I feel like we weren't quite at that level. So I'm gonna settle at a 9.
I say, I know when did the first one come out? Let's see, Moana release date. The first one came out, dang, 8 years ago? Whew, I'm getting old. I feel like it was yesterday.
2016.
Because what I was gonna say was maybe this one was released too quickly, but definitely not. This is like Kingdom Hearts realm of how long we have to wait. Um, I don't know. I guess I don't think another year or so would have done much more to improve music, but as far as because I feel like when they were done with the first one, I think they had an idea where they wanted to go, and that's definitely the way that they went here. But I don't know. I think they had a plan. They just kind of put their heads down and went for it, and I think they did a pretty good job. So an 8 for me, a 9 for Sarah. I was a little surprised that it didn't go the way I thought. Because when you were talking about 7 and 8, you're gonna, to go between them. Nine's pretty good.
I guess one other thing that I wish would maybe be a little bit better is the villain of the film. I feel like that aspect could have been a little stronger.
Yeah. Um, we'll talk more in spoilers. All right, so we gave our non-spoiler opinions. We gave a rating, so we are switching to the spoilers section. So go ahead and pause the video if you would like to, or click off of it, whatever it is. But here we go. So when the first movie ended, from what I remember, they kind of know that there's other people out there, and Moana is this person that went off to sea and came back and survived. So everybody kind of looks up to her in these respects, and so it's kind of her responsibility to go out and see what she can find and come back and tell everybody about it. And hopefully, when doing this, maybe she finds some other people. And so that's kind of the premise of the movie. She's, trying to find other people, maybe bring them back to her home, and everybody can live in harmony, all this great stuff. And what we kind of learn is that there is this island in like the middle of the ocean area where it was kind of the connecting path for everybody. It was in the center and people could go there, and then it was I would say the heart of the people of the region in a way. And let's see, what was the name of the bad guy? Start with an N. I
That I'm
think.
not sure, but the island I think was called Matu Fitu.
Yeah. Was it Nalo was the bad guy? Uh, so this bad guy, basically, I'm pretty sure it was Nalo. He sunk the island so that people couldn't go there, which broke the connection amongst all the islands. It was the one thing that people could look for. They would go there, and if they want to go to a different island, based on being in the center of everything, they could find out which way they have to go to these other places. But now that there's nothing there, there's no, landmarks to, try to find where everybody else is. And so that made people disconnected. And so it was Moana's job to try and go and find this island. And she's going to need some help along the way. So that's how she got the new crew that is behind Sarah. The older guy is definitely my favorite of the group, although the other two do hold their own as well. The guy in the middle, he is a huge Maui fanboy, which is hilarious because he makes like fan fiction of him and Maui doing all these amazing things. And once Maui meets him, it's kind of awkward because it's like, oh, you're writing fan fiction about me? This is kind of weird. And then on the far right, we have our I would call builder character. She has a fascination of trying different things and building different things, and it's kind of up to her to change Moana's boat to whatever fits best, whatever they're doing. Do you need more speed? And she'll adjust the boat. You need this or that, and she can make adjustments.
I loved her energy because she was just so chaotic. And the second Moana would say, like, well, maybe we could, she'd already have the boat disassembled and torn apart, and she'd be in the process of building a whole new structure, even if Moana just wanted a different paint color, you know? And she just was so chaotic. I think she was fun.
When I was watching her doing all these random things, like you said, before even Moana said to do it, I was imagining Jack Sparrow like, stop putting holes in my ship, because she would like break things down and put holes in the wood. And so that's what I kept thinking of. The
Yeah.
old man, he loved hanging out in the cargo hold. That was great. I
Well,
feel like that's what I would
he
do.
he was the farmer of the group. He was the one who was helping provide them with food that wasn't just fish. And how do you keep that stuff from falling off the boat? Well, you got to keep it in the cargo hold.
Yep, and he made sure it didn't get out of the cargo hold, I suppose. They also had their trusted friends, the pig and Hi Hi. So that was
Pua.
always fun. Huh?
Pua is the
Pua?
pig.
Oh, gotcha. Pua. Hi Hi is arguably my favorite character in the Moana series, so I love seeing Hi Hi back in the group here. Um, yeah, so basically, once we know what we're supposed to do in this movie, as far as Moana having to find this island, she sets off to go find it, and she runs in. Do you know what those little dudes are called?
Coconut people?
The coconut dudes. They run
I'm
into
not
them,
sure.
and what they find out is that there's like this big clam monster looking thing, and they want Moana to help them get rid of it.
They are the Kakamora.
Nakamura, thank you. They want Moana to help them get rid of it, and then by doing that, they would help her find this island. And in the mix of all this, not only do they, try to take care of this clam thing, but they get swallowed up into it, which is kind of where our heroes are herded into to run into Maui and the bad girl that is holding him captive. Do we know her name?
Matangi? I'm not sure if I
Matangi?
said that right, but it's Matangi.
So she's holding Maui. I forget why. She wants him to open up like the floor, but he's like, "I'll never do it for you," kind of a thing. But then she's holding him hostage.
I think she really wanted him to go get Moana to open the door or to have them open the door together, but he refused to go talk to Moana because he knew that evil was coming if he were to get her involved.
Hmm,
And so he basically just stayed there captured until Moana came to save him unknowingly.
gotcha. So they meet up, and then essentially they decide how they're going to do this game plan to take care of the island. Maui's going to pull it up with his hook, and then the way you restore the island is if a human sets foot on the island, then everything will go back to normal. So what they find out is that the main bad guy has like this crazy storm going on around where this island is, and the storm is trying to keep humans away so that the island doesn't rise. So when Maui goes in there, because he's like, I'm going to distract the thing and try to take it down, and then eventually pull it up so you can go up to, step foot on it, we find out that it doesn't even care about Maui. So even if Maui's trying to pull the island up, its main focus is going to be Moana and her crew, of course. So, uh, what do they do next?
So once the enemy storm creature, god, whatever he is, Once he realizes that Moana's just trying to distract him, he strips Maui of his powers. So he becomes completely tattooless, and his hook sinks down with the island, so the island's not rising anymore. And it seems like all hope is lost, and Moana takes it upon herself of, she's got all this pressure from her ancestor ghost people that keep talking to her and her village back home, and she just really wants everything to work out. So she swims down to that island to go touch foot on it, but it's really, really far down, and this is where the death potential is happening, right? Because
I, I think she does die, like for a little chunk of time, because so she's like inches from this island, and as soon as she touches it, or is really close to touching it, she gets zapped by lightning from the storm. And uh, Maui's down there, and he has the the
well, he
ocean.
goes down to get her, but yeah.
Yeah, they have the ocean part the water a little bit um so that uh
It's like a giant air bubble for
yeah,
her.
thank you. Mind you, because Moana is human, she did touch the island, so all the things are clearing up above. But now we have this issue of, oh my God, Moana's dead. And so Maui starts doing this little song, he's weeping, the ancestors show up, and instead of her becoming one with the ancestors decide that she's gonna be a demigod. So she gets like a tattoo on her arm, kind of like how Maui has it all over his body, but hers is only on her arm. So then she wakes back up. She's now alive. They go back to the surface, and the island resurfaces, which then they start to see people from all around starting to come to this island. So once they do that, I think because she blew into a special shell or something like that.
Yeah, she'd been using a special like conch shell throughout the film to try to call people, which was one of the funny parts because every time she did that, Hi Hi made a weird sound because he was choking on a shell. And so it sounded like, oh my gosh, there's somebody here answering my call. And really it was just Hi Hi choking because stupid chicken.
Great chicken. Great chicken. But now that she has all these people coming to the island, she can tell them about where she lives. And so she brings all these people back to her island so that everybody can be in harmony. Uh, After, like, as far as the main movie, there's not a whole lot after that. But if you're like me and you're sitting in the movie theater, all these people come together at her island, the credits roll, and you're like, well, wait a minute, what happened to the girl that was holding Maui hostage? Well, she's in the after credits scene. And this after credits is at least lining up Moana 3, if not more. But basically, she is talking to the guy that was in charge from the get-go. Like he's the master plan of all this. And what's interesting is he looked like Shaquille O'Neal, 100%. And a lot of times when you have animated movies like this, they sometimes try to base their animated character on them. I would say there's to a point, Maui looks like Dwayne Johnson. Look at the face. So I had wondered if Shaquille O'Neal was going to be the voice. Turns out he's not. Once you go into the credits, but yeah, the bad guy basically says, Moana is doing all these things to mess up our plans, so we got to go get back at her. And the little crab guy from the first movie crawls up and says he wants to help out too because she wronged him in the first movie. So looks like we're getting a little bit of a band of evil characters that want to go after Moana and Maui in Moana 3.
So I want to clarify something about Matangi. So when she had Maui kidnapped and she really just wanted Moana, she treated Moana really well. And she told Moana, I am stuck here because of that big the god creature, whoever he is, that's doing the storm. Like I'm stuck here because of him. He's got me imprisoned down here, so I can't leave. However, I will help you by showing you where this door is that's basically going to take you right to the island. If you go through this door on the floor, you just have to open the door. But if he finds out that I helped you, there's going to be a lot of bad things for me. And so when we see this after credit scene, she is in handcuffs. She's got like this glowing rope. It almost looks like Wonder Woman's rope, right? She's got these handcuffs around her hands, and the creature who was in charge of, the big storm, not creature, because he's kind of a man, I think. But anyway, he's got her handcuffed because he found out that she helped Moana. And so it's kind of like you're not free because you didn't do what you were supposed to and you helped somebody do something bad against me. So now you're still in my debt and you still have to do what I say. And so I know Jeremy kind of has a feeling that she's one of the bad guys, but I almost feel like she's more in Meg from Hercules' shoes, where she was stuck having to do whatever Hades said because she was still in debt to him. And I think that's what Matangi is in this film.
I would also add to that though, like I that's probably what's gonna happen. Like she just wants her freedom, and then once she has her freedom, she'll probably join up with Moana and Maui and try to take this dude out, just to even get some revenge on him. But one thing that I think would be interesting is having another female villain character. Wasn't the first one? That was a female, the island lady. I forget what her name is.
The Heart of Tafiti?
Yeah. Like that was a female, right?
Yes, but I'll be honest, I don't remember the first one well enough to know if she was even a villain or not. It's been too long since I've seen the first one.
Well,
I tried to watch it before seeing this film, I just ran out of time.
yeah, we forgot to rewatch it, so we only got to see part of it. But and she tried to kill Moana as Moana was trying to do her thing. But I think I was excited when I saw the villain. I was well, when I at least I think she might be a villain at this point. Seeing her, I was excited. I thought she was cool, charismatic, and uh, interesting. So I was kind of hoping for a little bit more out of her from this one, but we only get that small little piece in the a little breadcrumbs in the beginning, and then her talking with Moana in the middle, and then the after credits, and that's about it. Um,
What would you say was your favorite song?
I don't know the names of them. I couldn't tell you any of them, but I can tell you that I enjoyed listening to them.
I think the three or four big ones were gonna be Beyond, where she's talking about going out into the ocean and seeing what's beyond, right? There's the What Could Be Better Than This when they're trying to cheer up the grumpy old man in the boat. There's Get Lost, which is Matangi's song about how you got to find a different way to get to wherever you're going. Sometimes you have to choose to get lost before you can find what you're doing. And Can I Get a Chihu? And that was Maui's song when he was trying to cheer up Moana when it seemed like all hope was lost, when their boat was crashed.
I think
Those were, I
Beyond.
think, the big ones.
I think Beyond will be the best one.
Yeah, that
So
one was my favorite also.
I do. I know I keep doubling back to this, but again, it's because I think it's important. Uh, I'm gonna tell you what the parts that I remember off the top of my head where I know they talked about dying. So when Moana was first gonna leave, they were referencing that she may not come back. And then there was even this scene with her little sister, and her little sister was basically in tears of this thought that her sister may not come back. So that's kind of our first little piece there. Then there's a time I think Maui was talking to the girl saying, if they all come here, they're all gonna die. When Maui finally meets up with Moana and the gang, he literally tells them, if you do this, you are gonna die. And then, of course, we see her towards the end die for a little bit, even though she's brought back. I wholeheartedly believe she actually does die, but then she's brought back from being a hero of her region. So,
That was the impression that I got as well.
so it's quite a bit. It's kind of heavy, but yeah. I'm kind of excited to see what happens in the third one, knowing we have this big baddie coming after them, and now we got two demigods. Oh, one thing we didn't mention, I mean, Maui has his hook, that is his like special weapon. Moana's is the paddle.
Her boat oar.
Yeah. So I thought that was a cool choice. I'm just curious to see what she ends up doing with her powers, and I think that's what's going to be the fun of the third movie is to kind of see where she goes with that. Anything else you want to talk about for Moana 2?
I think that wraps it up pretty well.
All right. Well, that was our little talk, our movie review, I should say, on Moana 2. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications. We got tons and tons of other ones still coming this year yet. So check back with us on the movies coming out. Drops a like if you like the video and drops a comment letting us know your thoughts on Moana 2. And then, as always, everybody, thank you for watching. We'll see you next time.